how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Christmas is almost here, and as I say almost every year, wow, how did that happen? It really snuck up on me. But naturally, I've been watching Christmas movies for the past month, getting into the Christmas spirit, and there's lots of really cool stuff in them. I really love the characters, Santa, Frosty, Rudolph, all that stuff. But I feel that Christmas has some really cool villains, and they don't always get the credit they deserve, so why not do a top 10 list of the best Christmas villains? Now, I want to throw in a few caveats. Obviously, first, this is a personal list, so it'll definitely differ from yours. And if you have any characters that you feel should be on there, definitely leave them down in the comments. Number 2, no abstract concepts. A lot of these Christmas movies, the only real villains are corporate greed and a lack of Christmas spirit. None of that. 3, they can reform. That's fine, as long as they're a villain for most of the movie. And I do like that Christmas villains get a redemption arc. That's pretty cool. 4 is I'm going to be trying to keep this on the happier, lighter Christmas side of things, and that does eliminate a few characters. For example, I would love to put Darth Vader from the holiday special on here, but that's a Life Day movie and that's not really Christmassy. Also, I'm going to not do Christmas slashers. I love Christmas slashers, but they are more on the horror side of things, and I'm going for more Christmassy stuff. But there are enough of them that maybe I could do that as a list next year. Also, no real people, because if I ended this list with the genocidal King Herod, that again would put a damper on things. So we're just looking at fictional people, but all that being said, let's jump into the list proper. So without further ado, number 10. And for number 10, I'm going to do one of my more personal picks, and that would be Voldar from Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Yeah, Voldar is everything you could ever want in a cheesy sci-fi Martian. Big antenna, view screen on his forehead for some reason, nice big villain mustache. He doesn't think the children of Mars need Christmas because that's all foolishness and you have to be serious, guys. Yeah, he's fun, he's over the top, and he really shouldn't be in a Christmas movie, which makes it all the more funny. But of course, I, as a lot of people, know Voldar because Mystery Science Theater 3000 did an episode on this movie. It was one of the first episodes of the show that I ever saw, and is an absolute classic. I not only watch it every year, but I watch that episode sometimes when it's not even Christmas, and in turn, I have more Christmas association with that movie than a lot of people probably do. So yeah, like I said, this is kind of a personal pick, but let's move on to number 9. For number 9, I'm going to have to go with Oogie Boogie from A Nightmare Before Christmas. I love how A Nightmare Before Christmas has so many interesting and creative characters. So many of them, you look at them and you're like, what's that guy's story? What's he about? And Oogie Boogie is no exception. Like, he's a burlap sack? What's going on there? Well, when you find out, it is a weird reveal, let me tell you. But he's the one that legitimately kidnaps Santa for realsies, and definitely ups the stakes. Some cool songs in a Las Vegas-style setting. He's a really fun villain in a movie that is a really fun, over-the-top movie. Now, yeah, why he's kind of low on the list is because it is half of a Halloween movie as well, so not necessarily super Christmassy, but I had to include him. Anyway, moving on to number 8, and I'm going to have to go with Harry and Marv from Home Alone. Home Alone's an absolute classic. You get these two criminals, the Wet Bandits, trying to break into a house where a kid has been left alone on Christmas Eve. And they're just evil enough to be a legitimate threat without being too scary. And they hit that right level of cartooniness, and they have a good camaraderie with each other. But of course, where things really hit off is when we get towards the end of the movie and they are the victims to some brutal booby traps. It's one of the closest a live-action movie has gotten to being a cartoon, and I absolutely love it. There's some cool characters. But let's move on to another example of real live action movies being kind of cartoony. My number 7 pick is going to be The Gremlins. The Gremlins are so fun, and I love that this movie's set around Christmas. It's a great time to wreak havoc. You get the sweet and innocent little Mogwais, but break the rules and they're going to multiply and turn into gremlins. And when they're gremlins, they absolutely go nuts. I mean, this movie spawned a whole genre of mean little puppet characters just wreaking havoc on places. And what they do, like in the movie theater and in the bar, it's some really, really cool stuff. And yeah, definitely watch Gremlins again this year if you haven't already. It's really fun, what can I say? Moving on to a much more serious villain. For number 6, I'm going to have to go with Old Man Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is an absolute classic, and Old Man Potter is one of the all-time rich miser characters. He's obsessed with taking over this whole town by force and crushing the citizens' hopes and dreams and livelihoods in the process. He's a big, unstoppable force that haunts George Bailey throughout his whole life. Yeah, literally from the point he's a kid all the way till he's an adult, this guy's been haunting him at every turn, and he is an epic force to get around. A great, intimidating performance, definitely super memorable, and It's a Wonderful Life is one of the all-time great character studies, and we wouldn't get to know George Bailey as well if we didn't get to see a great obstacle for him to overcome. Old Man Potter, man, that is a nasty piece of work there. Anyway, moving on to a much more goofy miser. My number 5 pick will be the Burgermeister Meisterburger from Santa Claus is Coming to Town, a classic Rankin and Bass stop motion animation. Now, I did want to only pick one Rankin and Bass character. I didn't want to flood the list. But also, if you look back, a lot of Rankin and Bass villains aren't really villains. I mean, the Bumble's just an animal, and the Miser Brothers are fun, but they're not really evil. But if you want to go with an evil villain, oh man, that Burgermeister. A fun name to say, an over-the-top performance, and a symbol of what happens when government authority takes a huge overstep. He's banned all toys, and the town gets so dreary and bleak and gray, and that's when you get a man in a red suit coming in trying to change that. The Burgermeister turns Santa into a Robin Hood character and inadvertently shapes the way that he becomes the Santa we know today. Such a cool character, and I have to say, even though Rankin Bass has so many cool characters, he's the most memorable villain. Anyway, moving on to number 4, and I'm going to go with Hans Gruber from Die Hard. Yes, I'm going to say it's a Christmas movie, just watch it again. It's about a Christmas party and there's so much music. But anyway, when this office building is almost completely abandoned, save for this small group of people enjoying a Christmas party, well, he's going to bust in and try to get access to their safe and steal a whole bunch of bearer bonds. He once again has great contrast with the hero. John McClane is an average, ordinary American guy just trying to scrape by in the world, and then you get Hans Gruber being this European elitist, and the way he's so maniacal, and the way that he speaks like he's above everybody, and he never lets anything get him down. You know, the cops finally find out about the situation and he's not upset. He just says it was inevitable. He's this guy that's so sure of himself, so arrogant, but he's a good, intimidating force that you really want to see take a fall. Yeah, Die Hard, super, super great movie. Again, make sure it's on your yearly list. Anyway, we're at number 3 now, moving into the all-time classics, and this one had a movie that popularized him kind of recently, but before that, he was a strong piece of folklore, and I'm of course referring to Krampus. Krampus is such a cool, creepy idea. The opposite of Santa Claus. Rather than giving gifts to nice kids, he punishes bad kids. A goat-like appearance and a big basket on his back. yeah, this is creepy German folklore. But if we're talking about the 2015 Mike Dougherty film, not only is he still really cool, but he brings a ton of friends, elves and crazy toys and maniacal gingerbread men. The Dougherty film, he has his own little small army, and it's all super creative and over the top. Who doesn't love Krampus? And of course, after the Dougherty film, the character would be used in a bunch more movies, but nowhere near that one. Anyway, number 2, one of my all-time favorite villains, the Grinch from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is a classic. I grew up with this thing, and the way you get Boris Karloff reading the story to you and the Grinch going through all his antics, building his Santa suit, piling all the stuff onto his sled. It's one of those movies that I've seen it so much I almost know it beat by beat. And he even has his little dog Max to remind you that, yeah, there is a shred of humanity somewhere in there. Maybe there's hope for this guy, but like I said, I've seen the Grinch countless times. Definitely one of the best ones. However, not the absolute best. There is one villain that is the absolute classic in regards to Christmas villains, and that would be Ebenezer Scrooge from Charles Dickens' The Christmas Carol. Yeah, there's been a ton of adaptations of this, and like I said, it's about the character overall and not any specific adaptation, but he's been played by Patrick Stewart, Jim Carrey, Bill Murray. One of my favorites is Michael Caine from the Muppets version, but Ebenezer Scrooge is the Christmas miser, the grumpy old man. His catchphrase, "Bah humbug," has become the Christmas swear word now, and honestly, he set the prototype for Christmas misers to come. And there'd be so many characters in Christmas movies that borrowed, if not just a little bit, from Ebenezer Scrooge. And it's not just that he's a villain, but we get to find out why. When the Ghost of Christmas decide that they can try to help this guy and reform him, we get to see the tough battles he faced in life. And the story says, this is not just a miser, this is why he's a miser. This is why he became who he was. And the spirits are going to say, yeah, there's hope for this guy. We just need an intervention. Overall, Scrooge is obviously the best. Tons of adaptations in media, and he's the classic. He's the number one. He's the all-time Christmas villain. Anyway, what did you guys think of the list? Any characters you would have put on? Did you disagree with the order? Did I pull some weird picks out of nowhere? Maybe. But let me know in the comments what you think. But these are my favorites. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you should be able to find them here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist here. Have a good day now.